Start with you. You spoke to one restaurant owner earlier today. What are some of the main concerns?
Certainly, Shahan, we were in Parkhurst, which is quite a popular destination when it comes to eateries. And, you know, if you want to enjoy a good meal, that's just certainly one of those spots in Johannesburg. And what we saw today from restaurant owners was a plea and a cry for help, essentially, Shahan, saying that the lockdown regulations are just too harsh for the restaurant industry to be able to operate viably and to be able to make a profit in order to save jobs and save livelihoods, essentially. So that is what this protest was about, and we saw restaurant owners coming together all across the country, really, with their staff members, with placards saying #jobs save lives, saying that, you know, as much as it's important to save livelihoods, the livelihoods of these businesses that support many families as well as multiple industries also need to be top of the agenda when it comes to the government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. They're saying that these regulations need to be eased just to allow them to be able to operate when it's more viable for them. So if, for example, the curfews, the 9 p.m. curfew is just too early for them to be able to serve dinner, for example, because the majority of the operating hours that they have right now is when people are at work. Let's just take a listen to what one restaurant owner had to say.
Our industry is only effective, profitable, viable if we turn tables, in other words, being busy, and it's only effective, viable and profitable if we can sell alcohol. Initially, we weren't even concerned about the alcohol issue. We were just trying to trade. We're trading now, but I want to make a point in that the hours that we've been allowed to trade aren't helping us in any way, because in the time that we can trade, everybody's working. The most of our business comes from evenings and it comes from weekends. The curfew has completely put a halt to whatever viability we could have before, and all we've been trying to do for 3 months is to get our staff back in the groove of working.
So, Nabisutu, these regulations haven't just affected restaurants, their suppliers are also struggling.
Certainly, Shahan. So we started in Wellington, where we saw a table that is like 200 meters long, with about 1,000 chairs, empty chairs. We saw people who are from the events planning, people like your wedding planners, birthday celebrations. There's also decor people. So what they were saying is that, just like Slee said, they are pleading with the government to rather like increase the curfew and also allow restaurants to sell alcohol, saying that many people don't usually go to these restaurants just to eat. They also need to drink, because most of them, they only go to those places when they knock off. But let's listen to what Marie had to say, where she had to close her shop because of the lockdown.
The impact of the lockdown has been quite large for our company, and we had to close down. We supply different restaurants and other shops in the industry, and unfortunately, if they can't operate full capacity, we as a wholesaler can't operate full capacity either.
So, Slee, the Restaurant Association of South Africa are not impressed by President Cyril Ramaphosa's absence. They actually expected him to come out to the streets and sit at one of those tables and address them.
Yeah, that was actually a call that was made during the social media campaign. If you've been following that hashtag jobs save lives, the message there was the restaurant industry essentially inviting the president to come and take a seat outside of these empty tables and chairs, just to make a statement to show him what the regulations are doing to this industry, which is essentially crippling the industry. And what the Restaurant Association was saying is that this industry doesn't have much longer to survive, and they would have appreciated to have the president, you know, come in and just see what's happening to them and also engage them around what the way forward could be. Let's take a listen.
We're very disappointed that President Ramaphosa didn't take up one of the million seats on the streets that have been empty. It was a very important conversation to have with him today and to outline the hardship of the restaurant industry. You know, whilst he was not available, we certainly had the support of our Minister of Tourism, who is always in support of the industry. She's had engagements with us today. She just left a little while ago, and I think that the conversations that we have outlined again what we need. So she's rest assured that she will hand over the memorandum to President Ramaphosa as well as to the Minister of Copter and have conversations about the many suggestions that we put on the table in order to affect the requirements that we need to save the restaurant industry. So having said that, I think that today really outlined and brought the necessary coverage that we needed to. I think we've also brought beautiful patrons back into our restaurants today. They certainly have come. They've been reminded of how lovely it is to eat in our restaurants. We've seen the restaurants filling up around Parkhurst, and we are so thankful for the support of the communities and the neighbourhood here.
And Obisutu, it's not just about restaurant owners, isn't it? You spoke to a waitress. How are they being affected?
Well, Shahan, it's been like almost 5 months where restaurants were not allowed to operate, and they've been recently allowed to go back to business. And in the Western Cape, we've seen a number of restaurants permanently closing down because some were saying that they won't be able to go back to normal. And we've seen a number of restaurants owners telling us that they had to cut salaries of their staff. So some of the waiters and waitresses have been saying that it's been hard to adjust to the new norm where they now have a short amount of salary or the cut salary. But let's take a listen to what this waitress had to say about their struggles and issues.
We are in this Franschhoek. We are more than 30 restaurants here, and most of us in Franschhoek is hospitality. It's restaurants, it's bars, it's guest houses, it's hotels. That is what we as Franschhoekers live on our hospitality.
Slee, let's end with you. The tourism minister was at the protest. What is she saying?
Well, she accepted the memorandum of demands that was given to her by the Restaurant Association, and she said that she would, make it a priority to bring the issues that have been brought forward as well as the proposals by the industry to the NCCC, saying that they're constantly engaging on trying to find a way forward, trying to find a way to resurrect the tourism industry once more in a safe manner, in a manner that won't, result in a rise in infections. Also to just allow the industry to be able to get back on its feet. She says these kinds of engagements are continuously happening, and she has, assured the industry association that, she will be taking their plight forward. The industry was quite disappointed with the lack of response from the Copter Ministry, and of course they've also written to the presidency, and that letter in fact says that if push comes to shove, they will certainly go to the courts in order to find a way forward and to be able to save livelihoods. So the minister says she will be taking that memorandum back to the NCCC.